before somebody leaves, let's pull this meeting to order. Roll call, Sheriff.
Tommy Johnson III, present.
Rick Warren.
Jessica Clayton for County Commissioner Munn.
Miles Davidson.
Butch Freeman.
Gretchen Crawford for Larry Stein.
All right, so notice that this meeting was properly posted on October 21st. Next is Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner, if you would do the honor. Sir.
Salute, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir.
The next item is approval of minutes from the Budget Board meeting of October 17th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 2. This is a county assessor item. Mr. Cody.
Good afternoon. Item 2 and item 3 are related. Item 2 is a creation of a new line item within the county capital account, and this would be for the county assessor space reorganization project. They're wanting to make some changes to their space on the 3rd floor. So what item 2 does, and it is a recommendation from BET, would be to create a line item in the capital account for that specific project. And then line item 3 would be transferring money from reserve, the $100,000, and appropriating it at the same time into that newly created line item from agenda item number 2.
Are there any further questions for Cody?
Motion to approve.
Hey, we got a motion. You want to take items 2 and 3 together?
So be it. Items 2 and 3.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve items 2 and 3. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
I can help you guys on this. On 4 and 5, and then 6 and 7, they're similar to 2 and 3. 4 and 5 are related, and then 6 and 7 are related. On item number 4, we had a project down at the jail and doing some work on the loading dock. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. I was doing item 6. Item 4 is for the DA's office at their space that they're utilizing right now, the temporary space. They're needing some money for badge, the proximity card access. So
that's over in leadership, is it not?
yes,
That's correct.
Do we have the authority / approval to do that?
it's a continuation of what we've done for the other space that they already have over there.
A continuation?
So
Okay.
the answer is yes. In lawyer speak, yes. So we've already got badge access actually over there that's part of the lease and everything. Since that they, need more space, we're actually on a different floor and we're after expanding that badge reader.
Would that be considered improving that? I mean, we can't improve other people's properties.
Well, you can't with tax dollars, but you certainly could with ARPA.
And this is basically like a lock system, like what we have. That was done when they moved into their current space that they have. They're needing some additional proximity security card access.
I understand, and my understanding is one of the issues they're having is walk-ins. And I mean people who literally just walk into their offices, which they prefer a little more security than that. When we pull out of there, because they're not going to be in there forever. So when they pull out of there, what do we do with the card system?
We
That
can actually
equipment
take
would
it with
come
us.
back, yeah.
So we're going to take the card system and leave the hole in the wall.
And is the building aware of that? Have they granted you permission? Once you mount something permanently to my rental spaces, you mount it, it's permanent. That's what I put in the lease that you can remove it.
Yeah, Keith is working with the landlord and he had everything in line to be able to get this done. They just needed the funding.
Okay.
So
There is a DA representative behind you. You'd like to speak.
Oh, yeah.
She's hiding her face.
Yeah. Let's see, where's the representative?
So there was a need brought forth from the DA's office for the security badge access. Keith got all of his ducks in a row. He needed the funding. So what a solution was so that we could move fast is to create a new line item in that capital account, which is what item number 4 would do. And then item 5 would move money. It would be a transfer within the capital account from the unallocated account, which is the amount of money the budget board gives infrastructure each year to address kind of some emergencies that aren't foreseen. So we would transfer money from that unallocated account over to this account to fund this.
I thought you had said in a previous answer, though, that it was ARPA money. That's why You said that.
That's
ARPA.
what Miles had
I
said.
said it. I said ARPA.
is it ARPA?
No, not this count. This count would be the capital projects fund.
So
So
can we, once again, by
Yeah.
statute,
You're-
can we remodel, can we improve a space we don't own?
well, if we're just buying equipment and going to remove the equipment, and take it with us, I wouldn't say that we were improving.
It's not much different than if we moved over there and we installed new locks and keys. It's the proximity cards are the access, the locking, the unlocking of the door.
I want them to have it. I just want to make sure that we're not going where we shouldn't go. I know in years past that buildings that we rented, such as the warehouse, I can't improve anything.
Is the DA's office comfortable with this from a decision standpoint? We can do this.
Yes, we would prefer security measures. This is way over my pay grade and I'm not into technology. But the people that have moved down to the 4th floor already, you're talking about a hole left in the wall, but there is a key card there. So I don't know if we're working with that existing equipment that's there,
Oh.
because we had people try to badge in and it wasn't hooked up. So I don't know. That's a Keith question, but it's exactly what we've done on the 7th floor.
No, we're all for you having it. Just, have you ran it by civil to see if the civil division feels like this is something we're allowed to do?
I can't say whether Keith ran this by civil or not. I know that what we're doing here is what's already been done when the DA's office moved over there onto the 7th floor. So that's why when I said a continuation, it's the same thing that we did on the 7th floor for the DA's office when they moved over there. It's just on a smaller scale.
Well, I don't recall that coming before this board.
That was part of part of a different project, and I think that's probably why Miles had mentioned ARPA, was because the 5th floor renovation project, part of that was money allocated to the DA's office to be able to relocate temporarily while we remodel the 5th floor space. That project was funded through ARPA, so all of those expenses were paid for through ARPA.
Okay, back to my DA rep. You say that is there equipment there now?
Yes, and again, I don't understand the technology or what goes
Okay.
on behind the scenes, but again, we had some people who moved to the 4th floor, and outside the door, there's the little key card box, and they were trying to key card in, but we hadn't gotten there yet. So again, I don't know if we work with what is already there. I don't know. It's the same for the 7th floor. I mean, Enable had the space before, so I don't know if they left there. I don't know, but we didn't put a hole in the wall and installed that.
Have we asked the landlord to do this for us since we're renting from him? Have we asked the landlord, since if it's already there, to adjust it, to fit our cards, or issue us cards that would work so we?
Yeah, these are all questions for Keith. I'm just on the
All right,
finance
then the
side.
next question is where in the H is Keith?
Thank you, Bush.
You know,
This is something that they needed the funding. He's got all of the resources, got everything lined up.
but he
This-
doesn't have the answers, or at least he has not provided them to you. Right?
I was told that when we accidentally stepped in a mess, that you cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. And that was said to me by the DA, that I wasn't allowed to improve a building whatsoever, including bracing a wall if I had to buy the tube before.
I move to defer items 4 and 5 to the heel of the docket, see if we can get Mr. Monroe.
There's
Okay,
Keith.
Oh,
here's Mr. Monroe.
he's here. Never mind. We'll
Keith?
withdraw that motion.
Keith, we are on items 4 and 5. This is, as you can see on the agenda item,
Just a
this
minute,
is
let
for
me see.
$10,000 for the DA security badge access.
Yes, remember that the district attorney's office took the fourth floor, half of the fourth floor in leadership to house their attorneys, the additional attorneys and support staff. We had paid for, typically, the badged access cameras for the seventh floor. This is to accommodate their needs in a like manner on the fourth floor.
How did we do it on the 7th floor?
How did we do it? We
How
did
do
it,
we pay for it on the 7th floor?
that came out of the facilities budget.
How are we able to do that and justify it? Is that an improvement to that 7th floor, or would it not be an improvement to the 7th floor?
Now, we'll remove all of those items.
And do we have the landlord's permission to remove those items?
Yes, it mirrors exactly what we did on the seventh
So
floor.
we do have it in writing that we're gonna, the landlord knows that we're gonna
Yes.
remove the equipment, take it with us when we
Yes,
leave.
that's right.
So when we get ready, if this is passed, and when we get ready to move out, when the DA gets ready to move out of there, then we're gonna pull that equipment out of the wall on the 7th floor and the 4th floor,
The equipment that we own can be removed, and we'll do that,
and leaving a hole.
whatever.
Mr. Landlord, is that the way you operate your buildings?
Even hole is created by us, as was said, the hole already existed because it's the system is in place, and Able had the like size system that's already there. All we're doing is plugging our own system in.
No,
So
wait a
it's already
minute.
wired and everything for this. We're just putting our own stuff in.
That's correct.
It's a garage built already. You're just parking your car in it now.
So we don't have to make any cuts in the walls or anything like that?
Not necessarily, no.
Not
Well,
necessarily.
not
Does that mean we
necessarily.
are, or we
No.
aren't? Okay, yeah,
Something always comes up, right?
always. Yes, it does. And we're not against this. I want security over there very much so.
Yeah.
Because I've been over there when they walked right in when I was talking to my lawyer over there and didn't know who it was. So we want it. What we don't want to do, like I got in trouble with the warehouse. You remember that about 6 or 7 years ago. And I was told by the DA that I'm not allowed to improve that building. All I want to do is take a 2x4 and brace that one wall that was doing this. They said, no, the landlord would have to do it. I can do it if I don't have to, if the landlord buys a 2x4. I want to put my own time in, as long as I'm not on county time, the time I do it. So if it's legal and it's okay, I'm all for it. As long as we're
and I
not improving
concur.
something that we're not supposed to do.
I concur. All right, so the DA's comfortable that there's no legal issues involved, and you're comfortable that we're gonna pull the equipment out of there when the DA moves out of there and use it back over in Investors or somewhere. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Let's go.
All right. We have it. We have the explanation and on record. Do I hear a motion? And let's take 4 and 5 together.
I'll motion it.
Okay, we got a motion to approve items 4 and 5. Do we have a second? Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right.
Okay, 6 and
Continuing on.
7 are both
Ms.
related.
Crawford, would you vote for me, please? Thank you.
This is related to a project that we did down at the jail. One of their vendors damaged the door. We're trying to close out the project, but the vendor that performed the work, we want to make sure everything is done and fixed before we close out the project. The transportation company, from what I've been told, has said that they will reimburse us when we fix it. They just can't pay for it up front. They need to have the invoice and all that for fixing it. So there became an issue. How are we going to pay for it? I think Stacy had contacted the jail a few times, tried to get them to cut a check, and that didn't go through. So in order to get our current vendor that did the work down there so we can clear the project and everything, the thought was to create a new line item in the capital account, similar to what we just did, move money from the unallocated portion in there of $4,500 so that we can pay for the repairs on that door and then we will seek reimbursement from that transportation company. Those dollars would then come back into the general fund.
Don't we give the county jail money for maintaining the jail, and don't they have it in their budget for those kind of things?
We do give them a fair amount of money. I think at this point, it had been requested by Stacy's office several times for them to move forward. It was $4,500 that we can get reimbursed back. We want to be able to get our vendor out. And I completely agree with where you're coming from there, but it just got to a point where we're like, let's just get this done and over with so that our contract provider can
But
move
once
on.
again, I think the jail and the young lady managing the jail, it's in their budget. It's something that they should take care of. Every time you move the line, once you move it one time, there is no line. And we keep moving this line, the jail. Once you move it, there is no line. There's no rules. So I truthfully don't see why they don't pay. I know we're gonna get the money back, or at least we hope we do. But we're taking all responsibility away from somebody that's supposed to be managing. Instead, we're just gonna pick it up. You know, my child didn't pay his ticket, so I'm gonna run down and pay it for him, not hold him accountable, even though I gave him the money to pay it. I have a little trouble with all that. It's up to you guys.
Stacy, it's your item. Step up here, Barabbas.
Again, not really my item, but I did put it
Put
on.
your names on it.
I see that.
I do like your shirt.
The vendor, I feel comfortable, will reimburse the county. If they don't,
too.
the DA is aware of this and they will go after the vendor. Our desire is just to get the project finished, closed out and gone. We're just one door repair away. To Mr. Warren's point, I asked the jail to cut this check a couple of times and they're not gonna do it.
Stacy, whose project was it? Keep referring to a project. Was it the jail's project or the county's project?
It's the county's, it's an ARPA project for the loading dock down there.
Okay, and it was
So-
entirely done, contracted within.
Board of County Commissioners contract.
I see.
Okay, using ARPA funds, the Board of County Commissioners. So what you're telling us is that the jail trust is basically not involved in this. So what you're
I
telling me?
think that's true. That's true.
Joe, have you got anything on this?
Go.
I was trying to follow along. Couple of things. It is a Board of County Commissioners project. As we went through the ARPA process, because of the way the trust was, they were deemed a higher risk. If they were going to do the project themselves, it would have had to been on a reimbursement basis for us. They could not do that. So all of the projects that we've got going on down there are Board of County Commissioners projects. As I understand it, as it relates to this, this was a contractor down there that backed into this door and damaged it. They acknowledged that they've damaged it, but in order for them to pay us, it is better for us to pay for the repairs ourselves, submit reimbursement to them, and their insurance company will then reimburse us, or that's the plan.
Okay, so the truck that backed into it had nothing to do with the door. In other words, he wasn't there working on a door or something. He just went to sleep at the
Right,
switch.
my understanding, but I can't tell you exactly who it was, but there was someone providing some service down there, whether it was a
Okay.
delivery, et cetera, backed into the door that the board had done as an ARPA project. When we requested them to repair it, my understanding is they said it would be better for them if it was done this way. We did the repairs ourselves, submitted to them, and then their insurance would reimburse us. And as I think Stacy or Cody mentioned, the DA's office is aware of the situation, and if we don't get reimbursed, we'll proceed.
So did we give the ARPA money that we received to do that project? Did we handle it here through us?
In-house.
So it was never handled through the jail?
That money never left the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good with it.
I'll move to approve 6 and 7.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion in a second to approve 6 and 7. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 8 is a recommendation from BET. Dane Coffee came to us with with a suggestion. He's wanted to have a Microsoft applications trainer in his office. Out at Social Services, there's currently an employee that used to provide these services through our Social Services Department, training for Excel and, other things for county employees that need some training. The idea here is to transfer some of the budget that's already been allocated to social services due to the legislative change and having to close down a lot of those services come November 1. The thought was to transfer a portion of those dollars that's already been allocated to social services over to the IT budget. And then Dane could have that employee come over and catch up to speed on the newer Microsoft applications, and then begin a training process for county employees and offices when they need help with whether it's Microsoft 365 or Access or Excel or whatever.
Okay, any questions? Dane, you got anything to add to that? No?
Now, this covers 6 months worth of the salary and benefits. So going into next fiscal year, we'll have to kind of keep that in mind.
All right, any further questions? Hear a motion?
Motion?
Hear a second? Hear a second? I'll second it. All right,
So this adds an FTE? This is a new employee that we're increasing, anything like that?
Nope, it's an employee that was in one department that's funded through one department. We're going to move the funds and the employee to a different department. So it's not an increase in financial liability to the county.
And I just wanted to confirm, Mr. Warren, was that a motion to approve? Mr. Freeman, is that your second still?
that is,
Thank
it
you.
does. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right.
All right,
Cody,
item
number
number
9.
Yes, sir. This is, I believe, the last recommendation from BET on your agenda, and this is related to the assessor's office. It's been on the watch list for a little while. They're anticipating an increase in postage costs for this year. They've requested at BET a recommendation to transfer from general fund reserve to their general fund budget of $50,000 to cover those anticipated increases in postage expenses. BET has made a recommendation, and that's why it is before you today.
Anything from the assessor?
He said it accurately.
Do we hear a motion?
Motion?
Okay, we got a motion. You want a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
I apologize. Mr. Warren, was that a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Ms. Crawford?
I seconded his.
Thank you.
And now we're to the item that got us here today in this special budget board.
I just needed to move some funds around. I would appreciate if you guys could approve, please.
You set all this up just so you could move some funds around.
Well, again, I don't see you very often. So I don't have to do this very often. It just happened to, yes. I knew
All
it.
right, this is all within your current budget.
It is.
All right, do I hear a motion?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it's the same thing on 11, just moving stuff from,
Motion
we
to
didn't
approve.
need it in travel, we didn't need it in capital, let's put it in operations.
Okay, I apologize for interrupting. This is still voting for number 10. Just needed to confirm it was a motion to approve. Thank you.
All right, number 11. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item number 11. All in favor? Aye.
I thank you for the approval.
Right.
Do not cause so much trouble next time, Anita. Okay. Item number 12.
I can speak to item number
Good,
12.
please.
So item number 12 is in regards to the DA's rent. In order to pay for their floor as well as the additional half floor that was needed, that was discussed earlier, we will need money from ARPA. That will be in the amount of $781,989.50. We were just a little short the last time that we had discuss this, and so this is the total amount to get us through 2026.
Okay, so right now, there's 700K in ARPA funds sitting in the bank, sitting there in the project. And this is to increase it by the 81,000 plus.
Correct, to get us to the end of 2026.
And is
Oh,
this-
really?
Is this under a lease?
This is under a lease.
So we'll fully encumber that lease, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Is this,
All right.
is this ARPA money that's unencumbered right now?
700,000 of it is encumbered.
Yes, so we're just needing an additional $81,989.
Is that currently encumbered in any other projects? Are we taking it away from any projects?
No,
Is there sufficient money in ARPA?
yes.
Good.
This was approved at Policy and Governance this last month and BOCC.
Okay. How,
I'll motion for approval.
Second.
how could BOCC approve it without having the approval from the budget board for the funds?
Because it's federal funds and only BOCC can apply for them.
Okay, so ARPA is ARPA. Okay,
That's correct. It's
All
the
right.
same thing with the CARES funds.
okay. All right, do we have motion in a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 13. You going to speak to this also again?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the amount that is needed from remaining ARPA dollars that had not been encumbered yet. That was discussed in Policy and Governance and BOCC in order for the JJC elevator to be completed. And so that's an additional $1,100,000, bringing the total to $1,746,677.60.
And that's at JJC.
And that is at JJC.
Uh,
And they desperately need it.
Yeah, and I have no question on that. I absolutely do not. I do have a question on how did we come up with 646,000 and end up being 1.1 million short?
Stacy, do you want to speak to the elevators or Keith? Thank you.
What?
This is the elevator for JJC.
First of all, there are three aging elevators at JJC, and they are hydraulic. The first figure, $646,000, was to make repairs. The larger sum, 1.1, is a total replacement of the elevators themselves, the mechanisms, the drives, the pumps, the cylinders, and the interiors. It was first considered just to replace the guts to make it work properly. But if you look at the elevator cars themselves, they're aged and worn. It is a sort of a bronze-like finish that is deteriorated. We're working towards putting new courtrooms on the second floor of that building. And it would be foolish not to replace and completely replace the elevators at the same time while we have the opportunity.
Okay, so the original thought was a repair, but subsequently we have gone to replace. Is
Yes.
that what you're telling me?
Yes,
Okay.
Is it
Did
all
we
the
actually do any of the repairs or?
we haven't done anything over there. Now, they did have one instance where an electric motor driving one of the hydraulic pumps that served an elevator filled the building with smoke. So that repair was made, but not using any of these funds.
And will this project encompass all the elevators out there?
That encompasses the three main elevators. There is a small passenger elevator that is not covered under this. It's a single car, light use elevator that serves, I believe it's 1 and 2. It's not.
Now, do you see how valuable you are to this board in being able to explain things?
Sure.
Excellent.
If you believe that.
Whoa, now I've got trouble. Okay. Thank you, Keith. Any further questions for Keith?
Thank you.
Hearing none? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Beep, 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 beep. Do we have any citizens that want to participate or signed up to participate? Seeing none, hearing none. Board comments, starting with the sheriff.
No comment?
No comment.
No comment.
The sheriff attended a ceremony today of the Committee of 100, to where one of our county employees actually got honored. If you don't know David Barnes and the work that he does, the Committee of 100 recognized him for the great work that he does do for us. Other than that,
That's great. That's great. Unfortunately. I have nothing. Hearing nothing, we are all adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're out of here.
you don't need a vote. You want to say?
Nope. You don't.